Hey guys, welcome back to the channel today, and ooh boy, now we're starting to get into the Overlord goodness, baby. This episode right here reminded me of why I love Overlord so much. Just watching this whole episode, I couldn't help but grin to myself, seeing all these morons think, alright, we're gonna do this and this to try to manipulate things behind the scenes, when in actuality, they're the ones getting pulled on strings behind the scenes, and I love it so much. Oh man, Overlord is such a great series, guys. I'm so happy that it's back. I really am. Let me talk about that opening for a second, though, by the way, too. Like, we heard the song last week at the end of the episode, and I was like, ooh, this song's a banger. But those visuals were kind of great, too. Overlord always kills it with the openings, guys. I still don't think they've had an opening I like more than Season 1's opening, though. I still don't think they have, but man, do they really kill it with the openings. This opening was a banger, guys. That's definitely going on the do not skip opening list. But yeah, this episode was great, guys. So let's just get into it and talk about Overlord Season 4, Episode 2 today. Ooh, I'm so happy. So our episode begins with Ainz actually deep in thought, and he's thinking to himself, like, I don't really get Albedo and Demetrius's desire for world domination, you know? Because Ainz, as we know, wants to make the kingdom into a place that's basically Nazarick. He wants to recreate the world into Nazarick so he can invite his fellow guild members back in with open arms to show them, see what I've created for you all here. Isn't this our dream come true again? And they want to take over the world because they believe that's what he wants. And he keeps thinking to himself, like, I just want to make this place how we used to have it before. But they have all these wild ambitions, and I can't just dismiss them. They're two immortal geniuses. That's why I've left the kingdom in their hands. But I don't know, is world domination really what I want? And while he's thinking that, he kind of decides to himself, like, maybe I need to do things of my own for a little bit. You know, maybe I need to do a little bit of my own planning. A bit. And that's how our episode begins, with Ainz thinking that. And it's quite interesting, because we got to remember that Ainz is a regular dude. Like, Ainz is obviously the immortal king. He's Papa Bone Daddy, but he is still a regular guy under there, which I think definitely does get lost at times, because he's slowly losing his humanity, but it's still there right now. So it's very interesting to see his inner struggles in the show, honestly. And it's here that we actually transition to the princess in an orphanage reading to some children, you know, with Evil Eye with her. And as they're leaving, Evil Eye asks, isn't it so great that you decided to establish an orphanage for these kids? She's like, yes, my brother was actually nice enough to allow it. And she explains how we all know a lot of people died in the war from our previous season. A lot of people died. A lot of countries lost their power. A lot of kids lost their homes. So it's good to bolster the potential of the next generation so they have more strength. It's good to bring these children in and to kind of teach them so that the future can be bright. That's what the queen tries to describe to them. And guys, I completely forgot how twisted the princess is. I completely forgot how fucking demented she is. I quickly remembered, though, but during this whole scene, she's actually trying to ask Evil Eye, like, what's your special ability, you know? What's your secret talent? Because she's going on and on about these kids having potential and secret talents, so she's the whole time like, what's yours, Evil Eye? What do you think? Or what is your secret power, you know? And of course she's not gonna describe it. She's not gonna tell her, because that's an adventurer's secret weapon, of course. That's their trump card. She can't ever disclose that to anyone. And then they start talking about Jalad the boss and all that. And they're saying, yeah, if he showed up again, none of us would have the strength to be able to beat him. We'd be lucky if we could slow him down. And then it gets mentioned, oh, until your hero comes. And I completely forgot she had a crush on Moment. She's like, yes, Lord Moment is our savior. He's the only one that could take us down. And then they're like, but too bad he works for the Sorcerer King, huh? Too bad he works for him and pledged his loyalty, guys. Doesn't that suck? Oh, man. And then the conversation gets turned to, Evil Eye, do you think you could beat the Sorcerer King? And she says, with the information I have, no, I don't believe I could. I think the only person that could do it is Moment. Yeah, maybe Moment could beat the Sorcerer King. Who knows, guys? I just love it. I just love how they've integrated themselves so much into everywhere at once. And they're playing everyone, guys. Like puppets on a string. I just love it. That might be my favorite part of the show. Oh, man. They have no clue. And it's here that we transition, actually, to the Re-Estize Kingdom, where we see the foolish prince. Oh, this fool. Meeting with the princess, you know, because they're brother and sister, just to kind of reconvene with each other. And this is where the princess casually lets slide that, you know, a representative from the Sorcerer Kingdom is coming by, like, right now. Wouldn't it be a smart idea to pay them double tribute? You know, pay them double the appreciation for their visit? It might make you look good, brother, you know? Really just showcasing who really pulls the strings in this family. Prince is like, that's a good idea, sister. You know, when I become king, I'll give you a little territory out in the boonies. You can live out your life there. Which we all know the princess does not want. It's just hilarious. Like I said, everyone thinks they're in charge, man, but they're getting pulled along. Not even by Ainz all the time, too. That's the funny part. And it's here that we transition, actually, to Brain, who is actually a character I really like in the show. And now he's training after the events of the previous season. Now, Brain has been thoroughly humbled at this point. He's like, oh man, your head was hung so low after the events of the tournament. And he's like, I mistakenly thought I could stand with the strong then. He knows his place now after all that. And he's like, my goal right now is to find someone who can replace Gazif, who can take his position and inspire the people. And he gets asked, like, oh, well, why don't you take that position? He's like, that's not for me. That's not for someone like me. So he's been looking for children, actually, too, that he could potentially train up and take Gazof's place. Obviously, it's going to take a long time, because they're kids, but he has a new goal and a new ambition, and I think that's a good thing, you know? Give him something, because everyone is trying to take down the Sorcerer Kingdom. Everyone's playing nice right now, but everyone is plotting to take them down. And it's here that we see the prince meeting with the representatives of the Sorcerer Kingdom. Now, I always love the entrances they make, because they always try to be subtle, but everyone's looking at it. Everyone always looks at their entrances like, oh my god, this is the end. The apocalypse is happening. And they're like, oh, we were being subtle. I always love that. And who should step out of the carriage but Albedo, who was sent here previously in our last episode by Ainz. Not in her armor. No. Not in her incredibly cool armor. But in a very beautiful dress, looking reformed as ever. And man, she just absolutely kills it, guys. It's in this scene you gotta remember, like, oh yeah, that's right. Albedo's beautiful, too. On top of being crazy. So, you know, they're attending the ball that the prince has set up for them. And here we meet, what's his name? Philip? Oh, fucking Philip. Now, Philip, he's an ambitious man. I'll say that. He's very ambitious. Because he immediately sees Albedo descending the staircase and he thinks, this is my chance. This is my chance to do something right here. So he cuts ahead of everyone, climbs up the stairs, and immediately introduces himself to Albedo. Thinking, oh, if I can get in good with her, this is it. And he immediately gets reprimanded the second he gets home by his dad. Like, what are you doing? Why would you do something like that, you fool? And he's like, well, Father, think about it. We sit right between the Sorcerer Kingdom and the actual kingdom. Why would we not try to establish a good connection with them to get into their good graces in case of an invasion so we're left unharmed? Think about it. If I can get in good, we'll be set for life with them. And his father's like, why would they care about us? We only have a little village that we look after. And Philip's like, oh, because the public would look on to the Sorcerer King with a lot of interest. He'd be like, oh, wow, that's very impressive of him. It'd raise his morale among the people. And I'll give Philip, hey, man, I'll say he's ambitious, like I said. I'll give him that much, if not a fool. But what a person to try that to, fucking Albedo. And it turns out he invited her to a ball himself, you know? Like, please, Lady Albedo, I have a ball that I would like to invite you to, and I'd be most gracious if you'd come. Which she actually agrees to. And it's here his father asks him, like, alright, well, where are we gonna hold the ball? Our place doesn't have enough room to hold a ball at. And he's like, don't worry, Dad, don't worry. I've recently become acquainted with a very rich woman who says she saw my future potential. And I can just use her place. Judging by her name, she's a commoner, of course, but a very wealthy one. Has the name Hilma... I can't pronounce the last name. Hold on. Hilma Narcius ring a bell to you. I know I butchered that last name. But the second I heard that, I was like, oh, Philip. Oh, Philip. And it's here that we transition to the ball that Philip and Hilma have set up for people. And we get a look at her, and she's got quite an interesting appearance, guys, to say the least. A very, very interesting appearance. But we'll let that go for a second. And Philip asks her, like, well, there aren't as many influential people as I thought there'd be here. And she's like, no, these are the heirs of all these huge forces that their parents have died, so they're going to take over, actually. So I thought I'd bring them here because we can kind of shape the future, if we will, a bit. If we get the young generation that's going to take over and bring them in now, we can kind of mold them to how we want them to be when they take their higher up positions. Brilliant idea, honestly. Like, you don't want the old stuffy fuckers. You want the next generation that's going to take over. Plus, a lot of them died in the war anyway, so it just happens to work out. And it's here that we see, oh boy, Philip walking with Albedo, actually. And he starts asking a lot of personal questions and all that, like, are you married, Lady Albedo? Are you single? She's like, no, I'm unfortunately a single woman. And I'm like, Philip, this is not the woman you want to ask these questions to. I'm just watching the whole time like, Philip, ooh, bro, if she would have killed you already. And I just love that the second he puts his hand on her shoulder, we just hear a cracking sound like if Ainz hadn't ordered this, he'd be dead already. And we transition to the ball. You know, Albedo's walking around. She's mingling with all these morons, these trash, as Hilma herself said, these third-rate trash. And Philip walks up to her and asks, what do you think it would take for me to court Lady Albedo? And Hilma is disgusted by this fact. Like, there's no way you could ever marry her. You could see the pure disgust on her face. And Philip's like, oh, I don't know. I think I'm going to try. And it's in this scene that it's revealed that Hilma is absolutely a part of Nazarick, is working with them. No-brainer, guys. As Albedo's walking away, absolutely disgusted that he would even touch her like that. Completely furious. And Hilma suggests, you know, we could do a body double with him. And she's like, don't bother. He's a moron. These fools in here believe this moron. He'll be a great puppet for us in the future. As we see that this place is just, again, being pulled on the strings by Ainz and everyone. Hilma actually mentions that this place is a feeding ground, basically, so I wonder how that's gonna go. But we get a very interesting scene for our final scene of the episode, actually. If you stay after the end credits, we see the princess meeting with Albedo, actually. Everything's going according to plan, of course. Because I completely forgot that Ainz talked to her in, I believe, season 3, towards the end. That he actually met up with her, and she's working with them. And Albedo gives her a strange box. Now, like I said, I'm not caught up with the light novels and all that, guys. I really needed to rewatch season 3. I did not, so I'm not too familiar. I want to say that the box is like Pandora's box or something, but if I'm wrong, please quote me in the comments. I really want to know. She gives her this box and asks the princess, can you have it opened before the invasion? She's like, of course, of course. And then we see a little shadow that this one I'm not too sure about. Is the shadow from the queen or is it from Albedo? I'm imagining it's Albedo having a shadow on the queen, but it could be the queen trying to do something against Nazarick as well. This I'm not too sure about. This, please let me know in the comments, but I found that very interesting. And I love how it ends with Albedo asking her, all right, let's commence with that. Tell me about your puppy that you have. Obviously referring to the knight. I forgot his name, but I'll remember it in the next episode, guys. And she's like, yes, yes, of course. Please tell me more about Lord Ainz. And that's how our episode ends. And God, man, Overlord is so great. I've missed this show so much, guys. Like I said, I love how Ainz is pulling the strings behind everything. It's so great. But that'll be it for today's episode, guys. You know, we got some more Overlord greatness. Some more political intrigue in our series. And yeah, it's just great to watch them slowly take over the country and just manipulate everyone. Ain't it fun? But until next time, guys, I hope you guys have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, just deuces and have a blessed Overlord-filled day. I'll see you guys.